Hello dear friends. Today I will discuss the two important themes related to the research, which are somewhat related and somewhat not, but usually they are discussed, mentioned and read together, and there is a lot of confusion in most of the students, most of the researchers, and everyone who starts the research, and when they start a new journey of this research world, they always get confused with those two terms and those two sciences. What are these? This is research methods versus research methodology. I'll again repeat. Okay, what is a research method and what is research methodology? These two terms, these two sciences are always discussed together and they are confused. But research method and research methodology, these two are very separate things. Research methods are not the same as research methodology. Yes, they sound like one, they sound like they are similar or the same thing, but both are a very different thing. Let us discuss first what is a research method. Just as the name implies, this research method is the name of a particular method, a particular tool, a particular scheme used by a particular researcher for his or her own research. A research method can be a procedure, it can be a technique, it can be a tool, it can be a particular steps taken by any researcher to conduct his or her study. To solve a particular research question is known as a research method. That means that, for example, I being a researcher, I'm doing a research on a particular research question. I have a research question, I have a research problem. Now to answer that research problem, to solve that research problem, I will conduct a research. So whatever the methods I applied in that particular research, that one particular research, whatever the methods I have applied, whatever the tools I have used, how I have arranged that research, how I have conducted that research, I will call it research methods. Those are my research methods. These are the methods that are applied by me in my particular research. In any other research that I conduct, any other researcher that he or she conducts, they can have different method and they will describe their method. So that is called a research method. And any individual who performs a research in his and her individual methods, techniques, tools used, those are called the research method. Whereas what is a research methodology? Research methodology is a science. Yes, research methodology is a study. This is a science and study of different tools and techniques to be used by researchers to answer a particular kind of research question. That means it is a study, it is a science which teaches you, which applies you, which tells you what kind of research methods, what kind of research tools, what kind of techniques you can use to answer a particular research question. That it is a study, like we study the medical, like we study the medicine, like we study the cardiology. There can be different topics, there can be different diseases in the cardiology, but whole cardiology is a science. It teaches you how to diagnose a certain problem, how to diagnose a certain disease, and how to treat a particular disease. That particular disease is a separate entity, but whole cardiology is a science. That is how such methodology is a science, which tells you what tools, what techniques, what research methods, what statistical methods you will apply for a particular kind of study. And by studying the research methodology, by studying the research methodology, you will find out and you will you will select what kind of research method suits your research question. Obviously, first you will have a research question, your research topic, then you will see how to answer it. You will take the help of research methodology, and research methodology will guide you what method should you apply to make that research work. I will give a simple example. Like, I want to study the effects of SGLT2 inhibitors on the heart failure. Now, this is my research question. How to do it? I can do an experiment. I can do a clinical trial. I can do an observational study, or simply I can do a systematic review. I have discussed systematic review in previous videos. You can watch it. So, what is this? I have a research question I want to solve. Now, this is a research methodology that tells me that you have many methods to solve that problem. I can do a clinical trial. What is a clinical trial? It is a certain kind of study design. It is a certain kind of research method. But who tells me? Research methodology. I can do a systematic review to answer this problem. But systematic review and clinical trials are two different things. Both are the kind of researches. Both have different methods. So who tells me that both have different methods? Research methodology. The systematic review has its own procedure to conduct. Clinical trial has its own procedure and protocols to conduct. If I will do a clinical trial, I will follow the particular methods of clinical trial, and I will describe in my result I followed this and step. Those will be my methods of that particular research method. But who told me, who guide me to follow those steps? Who told me to do this systematic review or this clinical trial? Research methodology. Similarly, I can do observational study. I can do a cross-sectional study. I can do a case control study to answer that question. Obviously, methods will be different in each kind of study, but it is a research methodology which tells you these things. So, the systematic review, meta-analysis, clinical trials, qualitative study, quantitative study, descriptive study, comparative study. What are these? These are different kinds of studies. These are different methods, but it is a research methodology that makes you familiar with these things and it teaches you these things. You can apply any one of those things in your research method, and you will describe that in your research. That will be your research method. But research methodology is a science, is a study that will teach you what kind of research method you can apply, what kind of techniques you will apply. And when you will do research, you will explain your procedure, what you did. It will be a research method. It will be a research method applied by me. But how did I come to know how to apply which research method? Research methodology. I hope you will would have understand the difference between research method and research methodology. Thank you.